Heyo peeps, Kippy here with a new video. This video is gonna be a little bit different and a little out of the blue, but my birthday was the other day and I got these cool markers for my birthday. They're alcohol markers. See. I'll have a clip of me opening them up and probably at the beginning or now or something in the video, I don't know. But they're pretty cool, I like them. So far, I haven't actually used them, but like the way they look, I like the colors from what I see. But we're gonna fill this out because it came with this cute little chart with little cakes. Isn't that cute? So we're gonna fill this out real quick and then I will be right back and we'll do art because it came with paper. So this is voiceover kids, but yeah, we're just doing the filling in the color part. You'll notice that I'm doing both nibs, and that's mostly because sometimes a few of the markers will have slightly different colors come out of both the nibs. I think it's just like pigment distribution. I can't talk, but I'm not a scientist and I'm not an expert, so yeah, just know that sometimes it does look a little bit different, and that's why I test both ends. So from first impressions, so far these markers are pretty good. I haven't done the drawing yet in this part of the recording, but so far the markers are really good. They lay down pretty flat, nice, even kind of stuff. I like the colors. Some of the colors I'm a little bit like, they look really similar to the color next to it, and I don't know if it was necessary to give me a bunch of the same color, really. But other than that, it's pretty good. You'll notice that if you do get these, you'll notice that there might be a couple of the nibs that are a little bit, mostly chisels, that are a little bit not in the marker. You can pretty much just press those down on the paper gently and push them back in, or use your tip of your finger to do it. I had to do that for a couple of them. Not a lot, but a couple of them. And they work just fine. So yeah, I didn't really have any issues though with the markers having two different colors come out of the tip, except for like a couple markers. Mostly my 92, 93, and then my cool gray, and I think maybe 94 also. But other than that, most of the markers were pretty spot on with both nibs. Not necessarily to the cap. I didn't really test to the cap. I don't usually test to the cap because the cap is usually not accurate. It gives you an idea, but it's not accurate. So yeah, I'm actually really happy with these so far. These are pretty cheap and they were on Amazon, and it's a batch of 120. I'm pretty excited to have these, and a couple of these colors make me excited because they're like the perfect color for certain characters. Like some of the grays, the warm grays. There's the warm gray 8 that's perfect for Dormier. And it's kind of hard to find a good gray for her because she's dark gray, but it has to be a warm gray. So I'm glad that there's a lot of different types of gray. Overall, so far, I'd say these are pretty good markers. And if you're looking for a slightly cheaper version of alcohol markers that don't just suck, then I do suggest these actually. They're not like super duper cheap. Like, you have to buy them in like big batches, but it was a pretty good price. It was only like $50 something for this pack of 120, and that's pretty cool. Alright, so we're getting into the speed draw part of this video. I'm doing a sketch of an old drawing. I'm doing a redraw, basically, of an old drawing I did with my other alcohol markers, just so I can compare and contrast and tell you kind of how I feel about these ones compared to those ones. I will just say now that I suck at coloring with markers, especially the alcohol ones, just because I haven't really practiced that much. I can do a little bit of stuff, but you know, I'm mostly just a basic colorer. I just use it to color. I don't use it to do anything fancy. So I'm using my iPad as my light box because I don't have a light box. You can see me struggling like a lot, but it's okay. I figure it out and it works out in the end. It's just, don't recommend if you do have a light box or have the money to get a light box, just get a light box. It will help you out, I'm sure. So I'm going in with the lines. I'm using a micron. It works out pretty good. I tested for smudging. It didn't smudge. I know I had trouble with my other alcohol markers. They would constantly smudge my pens. So I, at one point, was just doing the colors and then doing the line art over top of it, which works, you know, but yeah, no, they don't smudge. Even with the lighter colors, which are the ones that are notorious for smudging just because of the high alcohol content to make the color lighter. This isn't the best line art in the world, but it's okay. It works for what we're doing it for. We're just trying to test out the colors. So I'm going in with a blush color. I wanted to see how that looks. I put it in the mouth area because I didn't want a brighter red. I thought it would contrast too much. And I shade the eyes. And then I go with the skin color, and I was actually pleasantly surprised with how long it stays wet on the paper. That was provided in the thing, and it doesn't look super splotchy. It looks pretty good. So I was able to go in with my blush color afterwards, so that's pretty nice. Normally, my other markers, you have to work really fast because it dries out on the paper incredibly fast. And so as you can see, it does dry out at a good rate, so I was able to go back and start working on other stuff as it dried. You don't want to do two colors next to each other before they've dried because then you'll start getting super bad bleeding. You'll see that it bleeds a little bit over here too, just because I'm not used to coloring with alcohol markers. I haven't done it in a while. I haven't really colored in traditional at all, except for like a couple colored pencil drawings, so it's okay though. You can go in with like a white gel pen or a whiteout pen and white out the edges, and then go into a photo software thing to edit it, and you can just edit that out. I tried to like do some weird blendy thing with the grass. It didn't work out, so we're just moving on. The colors blender does work though. I tested it, it works. And it doesn't smudge the lines, so that's nice. I feel like they layer pretty good. And over here in the hair, you're gonna see some blending stuff going on. I think it worked out pretty good. So I blend this brown, this lighter brown, which is more like my hair color. I wanted to do pink tips, but I ended up scratching that and just doing a pink tint. And I blend it with this darker color. It blends pretty good because it's still wet. And yeah, it works pretty good. There is a little bleeding on the outside just because, you know, they're markers. They're gonna bleed. Unless you're using like super good paper. End up shading with the warm gray one. It's pretty nice. I forgot to add the eyebrow. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. If I wanted to add darker shadows, then I might just go up a notch in the grays. Or if I wanted to do something more dynamic, I would have used like maybe a light purple or a blue or a pink or something. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. Just going in and fixing the edges with that jelly roll gel pen. It looks pretty good. There's a little bit of bleed through, but you can always just edit that out if you want to. And now we're going to go into the compare and contrast. Alright, so now we're in the compare and contrast. So these are the two artworks. This is the old one, this is the new one. I feel like they stayed similar enough that they're okay to be contrasting. So as you can see, I had a harder time in the past with blending just because the colors, the lighter colors especially, would dry out so quickly that you couldn't really blend them super good. And they ended up becoming splotchy when you layered too many layers. This is just 2 layers, by the way. The lighter and the darker, and it became splotchy. So these are my old markers. I'm going to put up on screen what the brand is, just so you know. They work. They're more expensive, though, I will say that. And trying to think. Oh, they have a bullet nib and a brush nib. So they do have a brush in it. But these are the new ones. So you can see I was able to do a little bit more blending before it got kind of splotchy, and it's not nearly as bad as splotchy over here. I don't have to go over the lines with a new pen afterward. See, with this one, I had to go over with the lines after I colored because of the smudging. It smudges super bad. This one, I was able to go over my lines with the marker and it didn't smudge. This one, it feels like it kind of ate the paper a little bit though. This one feels really smooth, but that just could be because this is fresh. I don't know. I don't know much about markers. I just know that this is pretty good. I like how vibrant the colors are. It lays down really smooth. It stays blendable longer. They stack better than the other markers do. And if you want to get alcohol markers, but you don't want to spend all your money on the really good kind, then I do suggest this brand. I'll put the brand up on the screen, and I'll put my picture of the Amazon listing on the screen. I do suggest these. They're not super expensive. You get a good variety of color. None of my markers were dried out except for maybe this one was a little bit dry. The blue gray 3. Other than that, all the other markers are good, and I think that's a pretty good, I bonked my hand. I think that's a pretty good ratio. 120 markers, only one of them was kind of dry. That's pretty good. Again, I just got these though today, so who knows, they might dry out pretty quickly. I don't know yet, but so far for my first impressions, this is pretty good, and you should, if you want to get markers, to try them out. These are a good brand to get. Anyways, that's my mini marker review. That was spontaneous, and I just decided to do it on a whim, and I've spent like 3 hours on it. Bye-bye!